This is a session on the Slack community, the Code Institute Slack community, and how to best use it. I think it's such a gem for us to have, and a lot of people don't realize the enormous benefit that you can get from using Slack effectively. So this is quite a short presentation. We're just going to run through all of the sections on Slack so that we can kind of break it down and just make it a bit easier to manage. All right. So I know that we might have people in the call that have been on the course for a while. We'll have people in the call that have maybe just joined the course, and if you have, welcome. You're definitely in the right place. I know that the whole Slack community thing can seem quite daunting at first. You know, you're not quite sure where to get involved and what to ask and how to ask it and so forth. And it really is valuable to get deeply engaged in the Slack community and use it for your benefit. All right. So the reason I've used the ducks, by the way, if anyone doesn't get it or you are new and you haven't heard of rubber ducking, it's a process, simply put, that by asking questions, you end up answering those questions for yourself. All right. If you look at the tutor support tab, you'll actually come across RoboDuck, which is there specifically asking questions. And by answering RoboDuck, you many times actually can answer your question or find a result to your question through that process. Okay. So the whole thing is not to be nervous of the Slack community. All right. I know it's a big place. There are a lot of people there, but it's kind of a twofold. First of all, from the coding perspective and the course perspective, you are going to get a huge amount of support from the Slack community, you know, for challenges, your milestones, just guiding in the right direction. But it's also an amazing social space. And you know, especially due to this lockdown that we've been experiencing over the past few months, which has been, you know, really tragic, and it's taken its toll on people too. The nice thing about Slack is you can actually jump in calls and realize that you're not alone in this. You know, everyone else is doing the same thing. It is important to know how to get the best responses if you do encounter any problems, and hopefully this will point that out for you. All right, so we'll just go briefly through the who, what, and how. Firstly, the who. Couple of little figures. There are over 4,000 people I mean, I'm just talking about the general channel. So in the Slack community, it could be quite a bit more than that. That's made up of current students, mentors, alumni, and Code Institute staff. All right, there I had earlier 120 channels. I see there's 135 now. Don't worry about all of those. Some of them have been made up historically. So I'll explain that in a few minutes. Besides the CI staff, again, most of the assistance that you'll be getting is from students and alumni, and all the advice and assistance you're given is voluntary. Okay, so it's important to bear that in mind if you are posting and requesting help. All right, again, just the immense value of the community and the Slack platform that we've got. It's really huge, and it's excellent to take full advantage of. Okay. I do have in the slideshow, you know, bits of wording, because if someone hasn't seen the or hasn't attended the call, there's a little bit more context. Okay, so don't worry about all the sentences over here. Okay, so basically the who, you will see some of these suffixes on people's name. So if you see a CI, usually there's a little orange dot around that, or an orange circle. Those are the Code Institute staff members. Tutors, community managers, etc., are all there. The alumni or alumna, suffix, you will see that quite often. And those are students or ex-students that have now finished the course and stay on Slack to, keep that social element going, and also to help out, current students too. All right. So again, that is voluntary. Most people are working and actually give their time to come and help us. Okay. The mentor, you'd be aware of the mentors. If you're brand new on the course and you haven't been assigned a mentor yet, that a mentor will be assigned to you, within a week or two of joining. If you haven't been assigned one yet, you can get in touch with student care. Mentors, it's very important that you don't direct message your mentor on Slack to ask questions. Okay, you need to book, if you do need a session with your mentor, you need to book that through the correct channels. Okay, if you see a little lead after the name, every 6 weeks, a current student is chosen to help out on one of the 4 milestone projects. Okay, so they're usually 4 channel leads at a time, and they or we would do webinars like this, or PDFs, just to help people out, and just come up with some helpful tips and presentations to sort of further the learning experience. And then students, like myself and yourselves, we are here doing the course material, and learning from everyone else too. Okay. Right, so again, when you join the course, you will be assigned what you call the main channels. Those will be your course material channels, the milestone channels, and so forth. Don't worry about the extra over 100 channels. I'll give you some examples of what those are. Okay, I will repeat this a few times during this session, that it's incredibly important to post in relevant channels to what you are requesting. Okay, if it's a general request, there are channels specifically for that. If it's to do with CSS, fundamentals challenges, then you'd naturally go to that specific channel. Okay, we'll touch on those too. Then also we'll run through how to ask questions and how to get assistance with challenges. Okay. Right, so the social channels that we've got are the general channel, and you would all know where that is. It could be equated to the town square. Good idea to get on there every morning, say good morning, be engaging. It will count your benefit in the future, because when things do get tough and you need assistance, and you've been engaged and saying hi to other people, and it's going to be a lot easier for other people to connect with you and remember your name and get in touch and want to jump in and come and help you quite quickly. Okay, you can say good morning, post any general conversation in there. All right, the introduce yourself channel. A lot of you that are new have been introducing yourself, and that's really, really good. Don't take that lightly as a, hi, I'm Jim. Give an introduction to yourself, where you're at. Again, it just sort of personalizes you. And I've used an example here, which is very true. And think of this like walking into a new classroom or a new office and saying hi to your classmates or fellow staff. I mean, that's what you would naturally do. So use that channel when you join up. Okay, then the In It Together channel is, you could call it the coffee shop of the Code Institute Slack community, and that is for everything and anything. There's a daily call held during the week, and that's from 11 o'clock in the morning UK Irish time, or GMT. And again, sometimes these calls do go on all day. They won't necessarily be constant talking. Sometimes it's just left on, and whoever's in the call would carry on coding on their projects or doing challenges, and then we'd all just stop and someone might say something interesting, or hey, have you seen this? And it's a nice way of feeling like you're in an office environment and you've got people around you that you can talk to every so often. All right, it makes a huge difference to having people around than just sitting isolated on your own. And again, this COVID has affected everyone, so I do recommend jumping in those calls whenever. You don't need to have your camera on, and if you don't want your mic on and you just want to listen in, you're welcome to join the channel too, any of the calls. And saying that, you can also start a call in there. You don't need to join anything that's pre-scheduled. If you want to invite, do a shout out in the channel, say, hey, is anyone available for a chat? You can start your own chat in there anytime. Okay. There's also a note on Sundays, there's a Sunday brunch call. It's very relaxed. And again, it's totally off topic. So just get involved and enjoy. Right, the study group is a channel that is for any presentation. So if you've got an idea that you want to discuss or have a little session about, you can actually post in the study group channel, hey, I'd like to learn a bit more about Bootstrap. And what we could do is start a call in there, or you can start a call in there, and we could actually do a bit of code play along whatever topic is decided on that day. It's also very informal, so do get involved there. Right, so every language, as you would know, has your lessons and course material with the challenges. All right, and it's important to know where to post again. And if you are dealing with a challenge in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python, make sure that you are posting in the correct channel. If someone from doing JavaScript posts a challenge or a question in HTML fundamentals, it's going to confuse a lot of people in that channel. So please make sure that you post in the relevant channels. Okay, so going on to the challenges themselves, it's important to follow this and not just throw a bunch of code into a post. First of all, it's very, very difficult to read, and you want to follow these two little processes, which is challenge assist and then using code snippets. Okay, so you might have seen this pop up, but if you click in one of those fundamentals channels, if you click the little lightning bolt, it'll open up a menu straight above it, but it'll go up to what is relevant to that channel. So it'll be HTML or JavaScript, or in this case CSS, challenge assist. All right, and if you click that, you will have some options pop on your screen. Okay, so that's the challenge assist little form that'll pop up. And if you look at your challenge, so for example, I've just used the inline CSS challenge here. You've got the name of the module and the actual challenge, or the name of the section and the challenge. All right, you want to use both of those. And this is highly important, because if someone else is coming to look at your post and you've just got something sort of a bit vague saying, I need help with the CSS syntax challenge, for someone else to go into the LMS and go and find that, you can actually, it's a while since we've done that particular section. So it can take quite a while to actually find that challenge to help you, which delays things, and it does frustrate people too that want to help you. So please use this format. So the section, there you can see CSS basics, for instance, you can pop that in there. And then the syntax challenge, you can pop in there. In my example that I've got up here, you'd pop that in the top, and then the challenge name is there. All right, you'll actually see it in the challenge too. Okay. Now, it's important to also describe your issue and what you've tried. You don't want to just start posting loads of challenge assists. You need to try this, and you need to try and work through these things. It's imperative for your learning. But if you do get stuck, do reach out on Slack. Okay. Right, so for code snippets, so if someone comes back and says, can I see your code, please? Because these challenges are very specific, so it might be something minor, and people will usually, that are helping you, will usually ask if they could see the code that you've written. All right, for this, we'd use a code snippet. All right, it's very, very easy to do. You'll see the little lightning bolt again, and you'll go up to create a text snippet. And I'll do this in a second so you can see how it works. You'll get a window like that opening, and the top section is for your code, and the bottom section, you can type your post. All right, so you don't need to type a post and then do the code snippet. You can just click the code snippet, it does all in one. And that's how that code snippet would come out. So I've written here, type your post message in here, and you can see that it's actually come up there, and I've got the code underneath, and it's nice and neat. The thing about this is, if I am asked to copy my code, let's use this as an example. You can click in the window here, Control A and Control C. So Control A for select all, Control C for copy. And if we go to Slack and we've got a workflow, let's say we've got the challenge assist going, and we want to post a snippet, I can just scroll down to create a text snippet, and I can post the code in there and say, hi, here's my code. I'm struggling with, and just explain, you know, point to the code and explain what you are struggling with. Okay, you can also, I mean, it is auto detect, but if you pop down to HTML, that'll give it some color. Okay. So if you create that snippet, that'll pop up nicely. You see with this, someone can go in here or download it and copy the correct code and paste that into an editor to check the code validity. And especially when this becomes a lot longer and you're working on a lot more code, you cannot just post the code like that. And the reason being is that the format of text in a just in a post, especially the little quote marks, render differently as to using a proper code block. Okay, so sometimes this can throw up errors if someone's trying to help you and throwing that into an IDE to give you a hand, and then they've got to go in and edit everything. It gets quite frustrating, but you can see the difference. All right, please don't do that. Don't just post code in a post. All right. Okay, so going on to the milestone channels, you obviously know that there are 4 milestones, and it's important again to use these channels as well for any help that you need on your milestone. Obviously, students and staff and not even tutors or mentors can help you code your project, but the support is there to guide you in the right direction and help you out. If you're getting stuck with something and something's not aligning properly, absolutely, ask on one of the channels. But please make sure, again, of the names. If someone's doing data-centric and they post in user-centric, it can confuse people in that channel, that are trying to, deal with the material already from that, from that actual topic. So post in the correct channels. All right. The peer code review is also really important for after you've finished your milestone, and I would highly recommend that you use it. And the peer code review is over there, where you can post a review request. So it's request code review. You can post a review request and put in which milestone you want, whether you've completed your README, and is it ready for submission, and anything else you want to pop in there. Okay, so that's you will get great responses. Again, the community is voluntary, so if you don't get immediate responses, just remain patient with that, and someone usually will get to it. Okay. Okay, topic-specific channels. This is really important. The Gitpod channel is only for questions and discussions relating to Gitpod. GitHub as well, I suppose repository is fine to post in there, but it's mainly for Gitpod. Even more importantly, the I Don't Get It channel, that's not Git, okay? It's Git, and it's specifically named because it's for version control and Git only. All right, please don't mistake that for I Don't Get It and posting anything, all right? The VS Code can do that, is for support, community support on a Visual Studio Code, or you know, an online IDE, a local IDE, should I say. Gitpod is your online IDE. It is recommended to use Gitpod throughout the course because the course material is taught using Gitpod. So if you'd like to learn a bit more about VS Code, you can do that, you know, in your own time. And again, the support from Code Institute will be for Gitpod, but for anything additional with VS Code, you can ask in that channel. All right, then the Ask Us Anything. If you can't find where to post it and you're not too sure, does this question relate to any channel that already exists, you can use the Ask Us Anything channel. Okay, almost there through the channels. As you can see, there are quite a few. The announcement channels, just to run through very briefly, they're self-explanatory. The announcements, usually it's CI staff that will announce any issues and also updates on various topics. That can be quite general with the announcement, not just with issues. Okay, the events channel is quite new. That's for notifications of Code Institute webinars and channel lead webinars and events that are happening. So do keep an eye on that channel. That everything will be posted in there in future. And it's great to join some of the calls because you end up learning everything, you know, something every time. Right, the job alerts and careers, again, self-explanatory. It's worth keeping an eye on those. The job alerts pop up from time to time, and the careers is for career guidance. Again, there are quite a few webinars that are posted in there for CV Masterclass and cover letter Masterclass and so forth, and improving your LinkedIn and so forth. Right, and then lastly, the LinkedIn channel. Again, for the Code Institute Slack community, why not, link up professionally too, and you can do this by leaving a message and your LinkedIn profile URL in the channel and welcoming people, to add you. It is important just to keep that professional and realize that LinkedIn is a professional platform. So don't just add a bunch of people. If you're going to add someone, send them a message on LinkedIn saying, hey, I'm from the student of the Code Institute, and introduce yourself, to that person. Don't just click add and expect people to add you. All right. Okay, and then lastly, there are some temporary channels that pop up for hackathon events and shorter term things. Okay, so also when it comes to when to ask, it's important to get used to being in the mind frame of going out there and trying to find a resolution to your problem or your issue. So get onto Google, get onto Slack, Stack Overflow, W3 Schools, Mozilla Web Docs, and more. Try and see what you can do on that side. So I would say step one is go out there and try and find if your issue has been approached, you know, and more than likely online it has been. If it's to do with one of the course material challenges, by all means ask in Slack, and you can do the challenge assist. But for more general issues, say it's your milestone, get into that habit of going out there and finding out how to ask Google and how to ask Stack Overflow to get the optimum results. All right, that really is important. And then if you can't find the answer, or the answers coming across are a bit confusing, reach out in the Slack community. Okay. Very important and very underused is the Slack history or Slack search. And if you go to the top of the Slack channel or the Slack account, you'll see the search bar right at the top. And if you start typing in there, it'll auto-populate as you type. And I mean, I've put this down here. Most questions have been asked and answered many times before, and it's so true. I've asked questions about, right, say, for example, specificity challenge, and, you know, you're struggling with that. And if you type in here, specificity, if I can, specificity challenge, let's search that. And immediately we've got a great post here from Anna, because it's one that's searched quite often. But you can see how many replies, and if you click on the replies, that'll open up on the right. You know, from here you can filter by who's posted or what channel it's been posted in. So if I just click CSS Fundamentals, it'll only be in that channel. Okay, you can also do start and end dates if you want to search for something more recent. It's important as well, we will go onto this in a sec, to ensure that when answering posts, try and reply in a thread. Okay, so you've got reply to thread. The reason being is if you just post in the main channel constantly, it populates underneath and your answers can get lost in translation. Okay, but if you look at, especially through the Slack search for the history search, I know that that's got 42 replies. So if someone's, let's say this is someone that's posted an issue and I'm looking at that same issue, trying to resolve it, hey, it's probably been answered here. So if I click on the replies, I can scroll down and have a look at who's responded to that. Okay. Right. The pinned posts are also really, really important. Again, underused, and it's important not to pin anything random. We are trying to keep this as clean as possible. But if you click on one of the channels and you click the name right at the top and then pinned posts, you'll find some really handy posts for each channel. You'll find that in all channels. Okay, so click the channel name right at the top, then on pinned, this details sidebar will open up and that'll populate with the past. You can see that one's got 40 pins. Okay, so to save posts, the same way someone asked earlier, you know, well, how do we save a pinned post? What you do is open up that post, or if you see something interesting appear on Slack, and I do this often, is where you've got the little bar. So if we go back to here, where we've got the post bar opening up there, there's a little button called save. And if I save that, it'll change to red. It looks more like pink to me. And right at the top on the left-hand side bar, you can click on saved items and you'll see the last save that I've got is there, and all of my previous saves. Right. Just little interesting videos that people have posted, or interesting walkthroughs or tutorials or anything like that. It's a really handy feature to get used to using. Right. Okay, and then again, I think the most important is how to ask for help on whatever you need to ask for help on, and actually getting responses. So be courteous, post relevant code in snippets. So you don't have to post your entire HTML file, post the relevant section, unless that person helping you is asking you to post everything, because they might want to see your head element, or, you know, to try and help you find a bug. Okay. Be patient for replies. As I said, the majority of the Slack community are helping out voluntarily. Okay, if your issue is very urgent, you know, or if it's something you can't wait for, then jump onto tutor support, which you'll find in the LMS, and you can ask one of the tutors there. Right, so the tutors operate from the LMS. You will have tutors and Code Institute staff helping out on Slack on a constant basis, but if you do need help, don't tag Code Institute staff in posts. Just get your post out there, and there are a lot of people watching the post to, you know, constantly help other people. Okay. So again, just bear in mind that it is voluntary for most, and, you know, people are using their time to help you, so remain cordial and polite. Okay, being snappy or impatient, again, will probably not attract people to want to help you. And that is the same people with replies. If you are helping someone else, don't snap in there, post your code. All right, it's not something you would do, or I hope it's not something you would do, or how you would you know, ask the question in an office environment or with friends. You would say, hey, Jim, can you post your code and I'll have a look at it for you. You know, just be cordial with each other. All right. So what to ask is, again, check that you've what you actually stuck with, or what your issue is, what you've tried already, and if you've searched that issue before and where you're getting stuck. So you try and narrow down your question. Right. Okay, and again, this is about getting the most out of a huge community of people. There are some incredibly talented coders helping on Slack, and willing to give a lot of you know, advice and wisdom and experience. And the more you get involved, the more you will be able to, you know, take advantage of that assistance. All right. So be kind, be considerate. Again, posting "I'm stuck with no content" or "challenge assist" or any relevance is not gonna attract anyone to come and help you, because immediately it looks as a chore that they're going to have to ask you, you know, a few questions to get the information out of you. So if you do need assistance, try and have you know, all your eggs in a basket, if that's the correct term, and just have things prepared so that you can get optimum responses. All right. Again, everyone gets stressed. Everyone has a bit of a stress with you know, coding and milestones, and it's a huge, you know, it's a huge thing that we've jumped into here. It is very difficult, coding in general, and it does lead to a lot of frustration, but it's very, very important not to take that frustration out on Slack. Okay, people remember those kinds of things, and it's very difficult to get support in the future if you know, you snappy or rude to someone else. So I know that goes without saying, but it is important just to, you know, keep everything genial. All right. So, you know, again, together with the anxiety, imposter syndrome, and stress, there's also excitement, accomplishment, laughter, and the Slack community's got all of that. Get involved and really, really use it. All right, and I've also popped a link. I'll post the slideshow after the call, and there is a link just to go and re-familiarize yourself with the rules for the Code Institute Slack, which is on the Code Institute website.